Hello, everyone. This is Coach Tim Campsall, and I'm excited to have a fellow business owner with us today. Something unique about my guest is that he collects hobbies, and I had to look that up. So we're going to have him explain that here in a minute. And to recharge, he likes to take a retreat in LaSalle, and he is most proud of a couple of things: the company that he's going to tell us about, as well as his sons and his grandkids. It's my pleasure to welcome Phil to the show today. Hi, Phil.
Hey, Tim. Nice to be here.
Awesome. Well, hey, I'm excited to hear your story. So let's jump in with we'll start with having you introduce yourself. Tell us your name and a bit of your personal story, like where you were born and live, and about your family.
Sure. I'm Phil Hipskind. I'm CEO of Legenia. Born and raised Hoosier, Northern Indiana. Did my undergraduate work at Indiana University, which I can say I'm proud of today.
Right.
um, did my PhD at Stanford. First time I ever crossed the Mississippi River was on my way out to Stanford. Started at Lilly and my scientific career at Lilly and worked there for over 30 years. And when I retired, I kind of had a little bit of gas left in my tank, and I was able to convince a few people in my research group that to retire with me. And we started Legenia, and we're having a blast.
That's awesome. Very cool. So tell us, collecting hobbies. Yeah,
Yeah,
what's that all about?
that's what. Yeah, that's what my wife would say. Basically, it means I try something for a little while and then it's on to the next hobby. So the crazy ones probably are the more interesting ones. So for example, during COVID, I taught myself, a lot of people teach themselves how to do a lot of stuff like, you name it, right? I taught myself how to weld during COVID.
Great.
and I'm not great at it, but I can weld. Okay. And it's a
Yeah.
useful skill.
Yeah.
So
Did you
welding.
have a project that you needed to weld, or did you just pick it up
Well,
for fun?
well, it was one of those things that you just kind of try because you
Uh-huh.
wanted to try. Um, but there's something here at Legenia that relates to my welding. This kind of company culture.
Uh-huh.
New people will come in and try our coffee maker, and
Uh-huh.
they'll complain about the exit part of the portafilter, right? So it's an espresso machine, and
Okay.
and I didn't like the fact that it had two exit points. So I took the portafilter home, cut off one of them, and re-welded it shut. So when people come in and complain about the welding job,
Yeah.
everybody else stands by and goes, "Oh, don't complain. The head guy did it."
That's awesome.
So
Love
anyway,
it.
it's a
I
trick.
love it. So Phil,
But if you
oh,
add welding to some of my other hobbies like high-powered rocketry, you got to have an explosives license for that.
wow.
Kind of different,
There
right?
you
Kind of
go.
different.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
yeah, I collect hobbies. I enjoy these days barbecue, 3D printing, and I'm getting into CNC machining.
Wonderful.
Three at a time is better
In
that
your
way.
spare time, right? So, Phil, is there a funny story that your family likes to tell about you that you'd be willing to share?
you know, I I it's one of those things that you know is more of a group togetherness.
Uh-huh.
Funny story, and it's probably our favorite vacation. We went on a cruise. It was our 25th anniversary, my wife and I,
Yeah.
and it was memorable for a lot of reasons. One, we were taking an excursion in Jamaica, right? It turns out that the guides were a little bit high, um, which adds to the interest. It was foreign to me and my family. But anyway, my oldest son's a lifeguard at this point in time, and we're going on a kayak, zip line, hiking adventure
Uh-huh.
in a thunderstorm. And my son's like, "This is breaking a lot of rules, Dad. We shouldn't be doing pretty much any of this, right?"
Yeah.
Um, and so we did that. We went to do the zip lining. And when you do zip lining, the guy will tell you, "Don't break, with your hands. Just keep going."
Yeah.
Well, my wife, she didn't abide by that rule. She got stuck in the middle over a river in a thunderstorm, and we had to watch a guide go out there scaling along the thing to go wrap his legs around her and drag her back
Oh
to the
no.
stopping point. Yeah. And then on the way back, we get to ride in this crazy uh, ATV that basically had all the metal cut off of it and bouncing around on roads that should have had a guardrail but don't. We have great fond memories of the craziness that was. So I don't know, not maybe so much a funny story about me, but
Yeah, that's awesome.
anyway.
So, Phil, tell us, how did the business come about? And at what point
Yep.
did you have the confidence that you could run your own business?
Well, I'm still working on the confidence part. I'm just a scientist. But no, Lilly offered an early retirement program in 2017, and I've been doing pro bono work for the Gates Foundation and global health for about 10 years up to that. And just giving them a heads up, I was retiring.
Yeah.
I said, hey, if you ever need a consultant, let me know. And they said, well, why don't you start a company? And wasn't really expecting them to hear that.
Yeah.
Anyway, the conversation was in September, and by December we were incorporated as Legenia in the state of Indiana. We thought we might last a couple of years. We didn't know where funding was going to come from. We didn't know what we were doing, but we had a lot of good friends who had interesting skill sets. One friend is quite an entrepreneur. He'd nothing like a biotech / boutique CRO like we are, but he'd started and sold like 3 or 4 companies by then, and he gave a lot of great advice. Here's how you incorporate in Indiana. It's real easy. You just do this, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And how do you set up accounting books?
Sure.
How do you what do you look for in an entity that will pay your payroll? What do what bank accounts do you need to have set up?
Sure.
All those kinds of things. So we had one fellow help us with that. Another fellow was just skilled in the business world, knew how to think through cash flow and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and just generally encouraging.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of friends that helped me along the way get enough basic business skills. And I don't think fortunately we didn't grow crazy fast. We're going to be starting our 9th year, and our anniversary is literally of incorporations tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
And so that's
Congrats.
8 years. Yeah. We've never really, we've always had enough business learned just before we needed it as we've grown. So, I think if you try to go and imagine how you get all that business information to start with, and well, I really didn't need it.
Right.
And sometimes on the job training is the best.
Sure.
And the most important thing is to know when you're outside of your skill set and to ask questions. So
Yeah, I like that concept of, just enough for where you're at in terms of
yeah.
knowledge and learning. And our founder, one of his phrases is, "You must learn to earn." Right. And the idea, like, the business will only grow to our level of learning and understanding and professional growth.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So tell us more about the company. Say the name again, and what do you guys do? How do you help people?
Yeah. The company's name is Legenia. It's spelled Lgenia. We kind of came upon it because we were having a hard time finding a name of a company that would be 6 letters or less and still the .com available. So we resorted to words that start with LG. There's not many of them, so we figured it was a safe bet. Anyway, but it stands for something. It stands for lead generation essence of. And in the world of science and drug discovery, in the very earliest stages of drug discovery, that's what you're doing. You're trying to generate a lead against a biological target or a therapeutic disease or whatever. And so that's how the name fit, Legenia.
Yeah.
And the people that say it the best are the French people. It just sounds like music to your ears. They say it really well. Other people, they pronounce, like, they'll say Lgenia or something like that. It doesn't work for us. But anyway, Legenia. So we are a part, we're kind of a hybrid. We're part a contract research organization, very, very specialized. So we fancy ourselves as a boutique contract research organization. Sounds so much better. And in part biotech. All right. So we have elements of both. We work to discover new medicines.
Hmm.
Biotechnology companies do that. We do that under contract many times or under a grant from most of the times from the Gates Foundation. So about 75 to 80% of our business comes from the Gates Foundation. And what they're interested in is new medicines for people living in poverty,
Mm.
people living in third world countries.
Yeah.
Infectious diseases, for example, is a very, very important problem. And prior to COVID, in the United States, people really didn't care about the field of infectious diseases. It's seen an incredible
Mm.
revival since COVID.
Sure.
So it's all of a sudden really hip to be a biotech company doing infectious diseases. But prior to that, it was pretty boring. It's like, well, infectious diseases, we already have antibiotics. What do we need to do
Yeah.
that more for?
Right.
Well, there's a lot of great needs, especially in countries of lower income.
Mm.
And so Legenia focuses on tuberculosis, malaria. We actually now have a third grant stream from the Gates Foundation in women's health.
Okay.
And then we also do disease modifying targets in Alzheimer's disease
Mm.
in collaboration with IU School of Medicine.
Okay.
And that's something we've been doing from nearly inception of Legenia as well. Again, it's an area that doesn't get a lot of attention. Most of the pharmaceutical companies are working in what's called the amyloid area. And so this new area, neuroimmune targets for Alzheimer's disease, is relatively new and unproven. So
Yeah.
it's more risky. And I
Okay.
think that's the other thing that kind of is underlined within Legenia. We take on the stuff that other people believe is too risky,
Mm.
and that's the nature of early stage drug discovery. We specialize in it. We did really well. My team at Lilly put a lot of compounds into the clinic and had really a unprecedented level of success at Lilly. And we always believe that the way you are most successful in drug discovery is you start with the beginning. How you start a project matters. If you
Mm.
started on strong foundation, you will be more successful than if you start on a weak foundation. So we pay a lot of attention to that early stage lead generation phase of drug discovery, where our name comes from.
Yeah. Very cool. That's awesome. So I'm assuming that there's been different challenges along the way, and more broadly, we know that successful businesses can get stuck at various stages of their growth journey. So, Phil, what's one of your biggest challenges over the years, and how'd you work through it?
Mhm. Yeah, we started off, we weren't a direct Gates Foundation grantee, so it's difficult to get the credibility to where you're a grantee from the foundation. It's invitation only.
Okay.
They uh, it's the who's who of everybody in whatever field it is. So we need to establish our credibility. Even though I'd worked with them pro bono and they knew me, they didn't know whether or not Legenia was going to be a viable
Sure.
company. They were helpful in facilitating its creation, but we had to get it off the ground, and it took us about 2 or 2.5, almost 3 years to get our first Gates Foundation grant.
Mm.
And along the way, we also got an NIH grant, and you know, and when you come from pharma, you basically have the company funding everything you do. You don't have to go
Right.
out and
Yeah.
prove your worth.
Yeah.
But if you're looking on open submission NIH grants, the success line is pretty poor. So learning grantsmanship and trying to compete for
Mm.
funding, get funding.
Yeah.
Drug discovery is not a cheap business.
Sure.
Was rather daunting, and I kind of thought in my mind that the Legenia probably only lasts for a couple of years,
Mm.
so I wasn't sure how that was going to go.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, we were able to prove ourselves. I think nowadays our biggest problem is probably finding additional talent.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
a lot of challenges on the way. Many of them are operational, right? How do you discover a new starting point, a new lead
Right.
in the context in which we work, which is very different from working inside a company. You depend on a lot of collaborators, so you have to hone your skills towards relationships amongst multiple collaborators.
Okay.
That was new to us, but turned out that wasn't as big a challenge as we thought.
Uh-huh.
Uh, COVID came along and actually was a huge help to us because it was no longer necessary to do that kind of relationship building face to face. We could do it by
Mm.
Zoom, and we actually were already pretty good at Zoom because that's kind of the nature of how these things that the Gates Foundation sets up.
Yeah.
But it just accelerated, right?
Okay.
So we were comfortable with it. We knew how to do it. We knew the tools.
Yeah.
We knew how to maximize them for relationship building and collaboration.
Sure. Yeah.
And that kind of came naturally. We didn't, come up with a great strategy to do it better. It just happened.
Yeah.
But today, though, my biggest problem is finding talent,
Yeah.
and the kind of drug discovery scientists that we're looking for is ones that specialize in that early stage part of drug discovery, and
Mm.
they're the rarest of the
Mm.
rare. The good ones, they're very rare.
Got it.
And so I think for the next year that'll be something it will bedevil us for quite some time.
Right. Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah. Talent it can be a challenge to find in general, and in your case, such specialized
Yeah.
talent. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they have to be a fit. They
Mm.
have to be a fit, as it would be in any business.
Yeah.
And we're my company is pretty much everybody is a former retired now
Okay.
researcher.
Yeah.
None of us have to work.
Yeah.
We have so it's got to have a fun factor,
Sure.
and a mission factor. So we the fact that we're looking at drugs that affect people living in poverty, it's a very noble, very important mission. I
Mm.
think it speaks for itself. That helps a lot,
Yeah.
but it doesn't speak to everybody.
Sure. Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah. So, Phil, we know that success doesn't happen in isolation, and you've already mentioned a few people. But I'm gonna put you on the spot a little bit here and ask you to pick three people who have been most instrumental in the success of your business. So, who are those three people, and how they help you?
Yeah. So there's at least two of them which I alluded to earlier in the conversation, and the one that the serial entrepreneur that I spoke to. I won't mention any names, but they'll know who they are. He started and ran and then sold like four companies. I think he did accounting. He did a newspaper printing company, and he did another accounting company, and then a tax preparation company. I think so. What he's still doing. He's like 87 years old. You want your taxes done by an 87-year-old? This is your guy. He's
Yeah.
awesome. Anyway, so he was a fellow companion in a men's Bible study
Okay.
that I was in at the time.
Yeah.
And then another fella, he's known in the Indianapolis community behind the scenes, plays a very important role. I'm not going to say who it is, but he's one that has been very, very helpful in filling in. Now, scientists are kind of shy and introverted and stuff like that. So he's helped me think through how I could become less that way,
Okay.
and be more attentive to my relationship building and how I interact with people.
Sure.
He's also helped me develop new connections. He also helps me brainstorm things. I have a challenge, and he'll think, "Oh, what about these three ways of doing it?"
Yeah.
Or perhaps he'll bring to me some new ways of doing business. Right?
Sure.
I think he came to me. He was probably the first guy that came to me. I don't know how many years ago it was. He says, "Phil, AI, natural language models. Pay attention to those." So anyway, we use a lot of scientific based machine learning, which is high end type AI stuff. But natural language, what the heck? Why do I need that for? Yeah, I know I don't know how to spell, but what the heck? So anyway, that was another one. And then the other person I'd give great credit to is my wife.
Hmm.
She stepped out of her boundaries a great deal. She was, a teacher by training. She's now COO for the company.
Yeah.
And she comes by the relationship, human emotional relationship skills, that stuff naturally. I knew she had arrived. We recently got a new landlord for our building. It's commercial real estate here. We had a new landlord, and they were. I was very frustrated with them. They wanted to raise the rent a whole bunch, and I met with me and her and the two guys who were partners. We met with them, and she just took over. Just took over and made the deal. And I'm like, whoa. So anyway, and she's always by. She's been, she raised our kids and allowed me to focus on my career.
Uh-huh.
And she's a huge support for me today and in every way for Legenia. So
Yeah, that's awesome. The saying is true that opposites attract, and many of the husband wife folks that I've worked with, they do have that yin and yang effect, right? Of
yeah, yeah,
each are stronger in different areas, but
yep,
together
very
they make it
complimentary.
work. Yeah, yeah,
Yep,
that's
yep,
fantastic.
absolutely true here.
So,
Mhm.
so learning is another aspect that's super important in terms of success in business. So, what's been one of your biggest learnings over the years?
How important it is to ask questions when you don't know,
Mm,
right? Um, just to give you one example. So that fella who was in my Bible study that helped me set up everything, he's 87 years old.
yeah.
He said, first thing you need to do is to go talk to Sprinkle and Ashley Accounting, and they will help you do that part of your business. Just trust me, right?
Yeah.
I think they bought his first accounting business, Michelle Sprinkle. But anyway, so so I got connected there. The gal is now a partner there. She is great with QuickBooks.
Mm.
I didn't know anything about QuickBooks. Nothing,
Yeah.
zero.
Yeah.
Right? I still have to ask her a lot of things, but the power of that tool for a person who's data oriented, like a
Yeah.
scientist,
Yeah.
is amazing.
Yes.
Right? Is amazing. If you and at first it was just so confusing, and why am I doing this? It just seems like it'd be better with an Excel sheet or something. No, and so just being, there'd be a tendency for a person who has got some success in business to not want to show vulnerability, to
Yeah.
not want to ask
Yes.
questions,
Yes.
to just be able to say, April, I really need to get a handle on this or that. I don't know how to do it. Right. Um, and that opens up all new worlds, right? And I
Absolutely.
think the
Yeah.
person that asks the questions, there's a ton of people out there that are ready to help you,
Yeah.
and as long as you're receptive to that help, ask for help. You'll be okay.
Yeah. That's
I could
great.
give you a dozen examples of that, but that's just one that comes to the top of my mind.
I love that advice because the reality is that almost every answer is findable, right? Right? Reading a book or watching a video or what. But
Yep,
the the problem with that is that it takes too much time, right? So
yep.
by asking an expert who has already educated themselves in that, we're just
As the
accelerating,
experience.
right? Yeah.
Yep,
So
yep.
that's something that we recommend to our clients too is, there's areas of the business you could do, but you shouldn't because somebody else has, it can take them 10 minutes, something that'll take you five. So,
Yep.
outsource it, pay someone else to do it and focus on the area that you're going to add the most value to
Oh,
your.
you're absolutely right, Tim. I think you always get trapped in things you think you have to do yourself,
Yes.
and it may be holding you back from your best self.
Absolutely. Yep, indeed. So, mindset is another important area in terms of success in business. So, what guidance would you have for a business owner who's maybe feeling, frustrated or discouraged in their business?
Hmm. Um, you know, I think that the tendency sometimes when you have a big challenge and you don't know how you're going to get through it is to just kind of, you know, let it consume you in ways that are not productive.
Yeah.
And I could name them for you. I've been in that trap. Sleepless nights, worried about this,
Yeah.
working too many hours,
Yeah.
trying to pound it through, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, I think that some of my best work has been, stepping back from the situation and trusting that something really cool will occur to me based on the fact that I've had this challenge.
Yes.
If I stay immersed in it and stay pounding my head on something, that's frequently, a recipe for a sore head
Yes.
and nothing else.
That's
But if you kind of just step back from it and trust that you um, that there's somebody there that's going to help you get through this.
Yes.
Why you'd be surprised how many times that works out. Um, I
Yeah.
have my own behind the scenes way of doing it. Other people have their own too.
Mm,
Whatever works for you.
yeah. I've been in a mindset program for about 4 years, and one of the things
Mhm.
our coach says is that life happens for us, not to us. So
Mhm.
similar to what you're
Okay.
saying, right?
Okay.
If we accept that there is going to be a benefit of this scenario, right? There's going to be a positive, there's going to be a learning and a growing, then
Mhm.
like you were saying, right now we can let go and go, all right, well, this is just part of the journey. So let me
Yeah.
embrace it, right? And allow
Yeah.
whatever's supposed to happen, happen.
I think sometimes too, I have found that as a scientist in my domain, I can make quick decisions and move
Mhm.
forward. But in out of my domain,
Yes.
if I were to take the same approach and try and say, I got to make quick decision, no,
Yeah.
no, maybe not.
Yeah.
Having a steady hand on the till is frequently important to do,
Yeah. Love it.
even if torpedoes and stuff's going all around you. You just have
Yeah.
to and a lot of times that chaos will hit the rest of the staff.
Yes.
And having a steady approach to it, one that's calm and poised,
Yeah.
um, allows them to be their best too, and
Absolutely.
maybe that's also going to contribute to a solution to a challenge.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the reality is, you know, having success in business and being a successful business and business owner, right? It's not always, it's not a linear path. It's not simple. It's not easy. Right? And if it was, everybody would be doing it. So yeah.
You're right about that.
Right. So the knowing that there's going to be chaos and there's going to be some things that don't work out and right and that the journey's not
And
linear.
those can be good.
Right.
The pot can get stirred in a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, and it's kind of like what you were saying earlier. I mean, the the work that you do, right, takes a lot of trial and error to get it, right, to find
yeah,
the success. Well, it is that way with business too. There's core foundational principles and
yep.
methodologies and approaches, but it's not just automatic. Right?
You are right. You are right. There's a lot of times the trial and error, the hypothesis driven, the way to approach it, objective way to approach it it lends itself very very nicely to business. Yep.
So, Phil, as you think about the next year, what's your biggest priority that you still need to sort out?
Yeah, I think I was alluding it to earlier, and that's recruiting new talent.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. I I am deathly afraid of putting out there an advertisement. Oh, we're hiring, because I'm just going to get inundated with thousands of applications that are completely that are just not fits,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I'd also worry because we've got an awesome culture here. Everybody gets along. Everybody's for each other.
Yeah.
One disruptive person, one misstep on a hire could be a real serious issue. Um, I you know I did recruiting. I was a scientist at Lilly, and as a scientist, I did recruiting. But when
Okay.
I would recruit, I'd go to like Stanford, where I knew
Yes.
everybody,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Fair.
so yeah, so it's not the same. I fortunately got a lot of contacts, and I can put feelers out with people. Hey, I'm looking for this. Say this to a good friend, and maybe
Yeah.
they know somebody.
Yeah.
But I just don't know. It's something. Uh, I feel a great deal of responsibility and urgency to be getting on with.
Hmm.
I'm not sure. I guess I got to sit back and wait and let it come to.
Right? Well, the good
um,
news is that it's like everything else in business, there are approaches and best practices and right and methodologies that we can, follow and increase the probability of finding better talent.
well, I look forward to hearing about that, but don't give me the stuff that the HR department at Lilly said we should use.
Right? Yeah.
Oh,
That was my biggest learning when I started my business is, oh my goodness. I hired a lot in my corporate career, but there was a whole team that took care of all the details, right? In the pre-vetting and
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
but I like what you said
yeah.
about culture,
So,
right? Culture is super important, right? If we bring on a bad apple, right, it has a an immediate detrimental effect, but it also has a long-term effect. So yes, finding people who fit the culture is super important. You've probably heard the phrase, right? Hire slow and fire fast, right? That's the idea is let's make sure they're a good, strong cultural fit first, and
yep,
then skills, the right skills and experiences second, because we've all had experiences where we brought on a bad cultural fit employee, and it's just
yep,
not fun.
yeah. So that's my big main focus for 2026 is one or two, maybe three people.
Yeah,
We've got a lot of new business brought in here at the end of the year. I'd sure like to capitalize on this opportunity. All very, very important
sure.
medical need areas, and places where we can, with our special skill set, make a big difference.
Yeah.
I'd like to capitalize on it.
Yep. Yep. And we'll talk more offline, Phil, but for folks listening, it's the general, principle and approach is you start with the top of the funnel, and yes, a bunch of people are going to apply who don't fit, but then you can use automation or software or shorter time engagement ways to you know, weed out the people who
Okay.
shouldn't have applied, who just, who it was easy to because they could hit the apply here button, right? And so screening people out and having a repeatable process. And, one of the other things that we do is group interviews instead of one-on-one, because that
Huh.
way, right, you're leveraging your time and your team's time, and it's a whole lot easier to compare and contrast folks when they're
Yeah.
answering the questions together versus, oh, that person was on Monday and I can't even remember, what happened yesterday.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, last question, Phil. Jim Rohn, one of his famous quotes is that we become the average of the five people that we spend the most time with. So, as you think about that, what advice do you have for business owners who are feeling stuck or feeling overwhelmed, but they're trying to figure it out on their own?
Yeah. So I give three pieces of advice to my sons, and the last one is absolutely critical here. The first one is work hard,
Hmm.
ask questions,
Yeah.
but the third one, get a mentor.
Mm,
Getting a mentor was absolutely critical in my career at Lilly. I had many great mentors along the way, from the first day to the last day.
yeah.
When you start your own business, it's a different world. And you need different sets of advice. I was very fortunate to have some people that I mentioned here
Yeah.
today,
Yeah.
but I'm always looking for people that can offer their advice in a different way. So I find myself running into a person who's in XYZ business, and
Sure.
boy, pick their brain quick.
Yeah.
What kernels can I get from them? And it fortunately, a lot of business people are very extroverted,
Mm.
and so I don't have any trouble getting it out of them. But it's not natural for me as a scientist to do that kind of thing on a regular. I'm getting more comfortable with it, but
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
so work hard, ask questions, get a mentor. Getting that mentor, a
Yeah.
person that can help you, and you might need two or three for different aspects.
Sure.
Maybe one person's really good at setting a business up. One person's really good at the a business acumen,
Yeah.
and another person maybe they could help me in recruiting.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Right. Yes. I've had I think four different coaches, mentors in my journey. Because to your point, right, we come up against new and different things that to get through it faster, you work with somebody who already has the expertise and the knowledge, and And
Somebody you can trust,
yeah,
somebody who supports you, encourages you, somebody somebody that will tell you
yes.
the absolute critical truth when you need to hear it.
Yeah,
Right.
indeed. Yeah.
So,
Well, and the other thing that you mentioned that I think is super important for folks to hear multiple times is most successful folks are more than willing to share a coffee or have a quick conversation because they were there at some point too. And so the idea of paying it forward is, if you're polite and respectful and you ask people some questions, I've always had experiences where folks
yeah.
are willing to pass it down and share from their own wisdom and struggles.
Mhm. Yep, absolutely.
So, Phil, it sounds like, you've been blessed with some incredible people, both in terms of mentors as well as your team and your family. And so if they were all here today, what would you want to say to them?
Thanks for a wild ride. To think about this as my failure in retirement, and how much fun I'm having with it. It's hard to imagine that I left science, and well, not completely, but left science and became a businessman.
Yeah.
And I'm still running it, starting my ninth year. But thank you for all that you've given Legenia, and thank you for supporting us, and giving us the space to make retirement different than we might have imagined, in a way that is incredibly rewarding and incredibly satisfying. So anyway, thanks.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing, Phil. I appreciate your time today. It's been a pleasure chatting with you.
Sure thing, Tim. It's been a very enjoyable conversation with you today, and I can't wait to see how the podcast comes out.
Awesome. Thanks again for being on the show. Have a good day.
All right, bye bye.
Thanks for listening to the Self-Made is a Myth show. Please help spread this movement by liking and subscribing to our show and following us on Facebook and LinkedIn. To join our movement, go to bemadtogether.com. Okay, folks, that's a wrap. Please pay it forward and be sure to tune in next time to the Self-Made is a Myth podcast.